But let's see if this is something that's definitely worth let's see if this is something that's hi guys, how you guys doing? Welcome back to my channel. Taylor here. So on today's review video, I'm going to be reviewing the Canon EOS M50. So this is a camera that I got because I wanted something that I could vlog with, while at the same time it being something that's interchangeable, that I can switch out the lenses, I can add a microphone to it, I can add a ring light to it, so that way it's more future-proof, right? Where I can like continuously upgrade the lens and things like that. Switch out the lens for different types of photography and things that I want to do with the camera, so I'm not just boxed into doing like one sort of thing. I took this with me while I was driving through the country a couple of weeks ago, and you know, I'll put some of the pictures and videos that I got. I also made some vlog videos with it. But let's see if this Canon camera is something that is definitely worth packing and taking with you on your next vacation. So let's get packing. Alright, so the first thing I kind of want to touch on with the camera is that taking off the lens and everything is pretty easy. Just press the button, twist it and everything. I didn't find that to be difficult or anything else like that, or really too much of a bother. I actually would take mine off whenever I kind of finished using it and put the cap on, and then take this off and keep them separated so that it wasn't always like, you know, connected like this. I didn't find it to be too much of an issue in doing that. I liked it. In terms of photo quality and things like that, it was really great. The lens, I haven't bought another lens, so I've just used the original one that it came with, the 15 to 45 millimeter. That one, it's pretty good in terms of zooming and everything. It's not super great, like it's not going to go really far out. You'd have to buy a different lens for that. But the one that it came with is pretty decent in terms of the length that it'll go and how far out it'll zoom to get like a pretty good picture. It was very good in that aspect in terms of taking pictures of larger things like a mountain, an ocean, things like that. Versus trying to zoom into something that's really far away and trying to get like a close-up shot of it if it's smaller or something. This lens isn't necessarily going to do that, but I wasn't really trying to do that, and there's different lens out there that you can buy for that if that's what you want to do. Now, in terms of the biggest and main feature of it, which is going to be this beautiful viewfinder that can flip out, switch, and everything else like that, I absolutely love it. It is amazing. The picture on it looks great. The quality of it looks great in terms of when you're watching yourself and when you're looking at it. It is touchscreen, so there's a lot of different things that you can edit and change even like before you start recording, and it also has a pretty good option of where you can edit and make edits to videos and photos afterwards on the camera. So that's pretty neat. I didn't do too much of that. I'd rather edit it on like the computer and things like that. That's a lot easier than trying to edit it on the camera itself. However, you can add different filters and stuff, different image stabilizations, different focus options on the camera, and it'll create a more smooth transition, and it'll create a more smooth video or picture or whatever it is you're trying to get if you do it on the camera versus doing it in post afterwards. So it very much depends on what all you're going to be taking pictures of, what all you're going to be doing. Now, in terms of this being a vlogging camera versus a travel camera, I do think that it's really good. I'm going to continue to use this camera. It's fantastic to set up on my tripod. Just set it there, and then in the viewfinder, you can flip it and see everything that you're doing. I can look at myself in it, and then whenever I want to use it for regular, just taking pictures and videos of things, then I can just flip it back here. Bam. And it can move up a little bit like that and move down. So if I'm taking a picture in an awkward angle where I have to hold the camera above me, where I have to hold it below me or something, then this being able to kind of flip around and do this whole 180-degree turn and everything is very helpful. So I definitely do love that, and it is a very nice screen. It's very nice size, it's crisp, and everything else like that. The pictures, 24 megapixels, are fantastic. They look great. You know, it has this right here where you can take this off and put a microphone, you can put a ring light, you can put any type of camera lighting into this thing. Like I have one of my camera lights right here. This is just an Energizer one. It's a little cheaper one. It's like $30, $40. I'll link it down below. You can get it on Amazon. But you can just like slide this in here. Same thing with like a ring light. and then it'll hold this while you place this wherever it's going to be, or if you're going to be walking around with it, you can actually tighten it, and then it won't really like come off or anything. So I do like this thing this right here, which is one of the main reasons that I got this camera, is more or less to future-proof it. So that way I can add on stuff to it. And a lot of cameras that you can do that are a lot more expensive than this, or they are specific DSLRs or anything. This is kind of a nice hybrid camera. In terms of the Wi-Fi option and sending pictures and things like that to yourself and your tablet, I did that. It is, again, kind of slow in doing so versus like actually taking out the SD card and plugging it in and doing it in the computer that way. However, again, it comes back to if you're going to be traveling, if you don't want to bring your computer with you or anything, then having that Wi-Fi option is very nice. You connect it on the Canon app, and then it'll send the image to it back and done. Like it'll take a while, but if you take a whole bunch of pictures, then like go somewhere and eat or something, then while you're eating, you have all the pictures being sent to the camera from your phone, from your tablet. Bam, easy. That's what I did. So that is something that is absolutely fantastic. It does also have an NFC option, but I don't have an Android, so I couldn't really test that. So I don't really have any opinion on it, but I'm sure it probably works, you know, great. Now, the charge time on this is not terribly bad. I found it to take about like an hour and a half, 2 hours to maybe fully charge if the battery's been fully depleted. However, it does last for a pretty long time, even if I am vlogging or if I'm making video and things like that. It seems to, even just straight up doing video, it seems to last for a good over an hour or so of just doing video, like consecutively, not turning the camera off or anything. But if you're like taking pictures and videos and you're traveling and moving around and everything, I found it to last me like a few hours doing that, like 3 to 4 typically. Depending on the charge of the battery. I don't have like a backup battery yet, but I'm sure you can buy like a different battery, like a backup one that's similar to the one that they provide, that might last longer. The only real issue that I had with the camera was the focus feature. So I had a different Canon camera that was more point and shoot, but it had a screen on it as well, for being the mirrorless camera, and it actually had an option where I could go in and have it register my face on the camera, so that way when I was using it, it always focused on me. This one doesn't have that option to where you can register my face with the camera, basically, so that way in photos with other people, in pictures and videos with other things, it will only stay focused on me. Now, it does a pretty good job of autofocusing and focusing on me majority of the time. However, there are times I've noticed in some of the videos that I recorded and things where I start to get a little blurry, where it starts to, I'm not sure what it's focusing on, but it'll kind of like, or randomly while I'm talking, it'll kind of just sort of blur in, blur out, adjust its lens or whatever. I did notice that, and sometimes that can be kind of distracting, especially if I am vlogging, and it's not as easy to see that in the viewfinder, like in terms of noticing, I can see myself in the viewfinder, but in terms of actually seeing that the camera is coming out of focus randomly, I don't necessarily notice that, and I'm not always trying to look at the viewfinder, especially if I'm recording, because I want to be talking to you all, not necessarily looking at myself. So that was kind of annoying, but it didn't happen. It happened enough to be noticeable, but it didn't happen enough to completely ruin a video, or for me to like want to take it back or anything else like that. So it's definitely still something that is definitely worth it. For vlogging, this camera is a definite yes. For travel, this camera is a definite yes. I think that this is a very nice hybrid camera if you want to spend somewhere in the realm of $600–700 on a camera without going up to the $1,000 ones. Then I think that this is a good option to get. And if you want something that can be future-proof while at the same time allowing you to do things like vlog with it, and being easily accessible and carryable, and giving you the option to travel with, then this is definitely a good hybrid for that as well. It transitions easily from me taking photos of a mountain or something to me vlogging on it, and I like that transition. I like the fact that I can add a ring light to this, the fact that I can add the microphone to it and everything. That makes it just fantastic and great. And I can show you guys how to like use the app and everything. If you want like a let's get into a video of using the Canon app, then let me know, and I can go through like a little tutorial on using the app. But it's pretty self-explanatory, and it's pretty easy to use. It has the option in the Canon application of where you can use it to take like a picture of yourself, where you can put the camera somewhere and then see yourself in your phone. Like, let's say if you went kind of far away from the camera, I guess, to where you can't see yourself in the viewfinder, then you could see yourself in the phone. You could also like press the snap button on the phone to snap a picture, have a timer delay, things like that. So that, I think, is very nice as well. And the camera does have an option to upload things to like your Canon library, to like a Google library and things like that as well. If you want to like put your pictures there, then you know it'll do that whenever you get to internet, if that's what you have it set up as well. All right, so for this, I did get a little bit more of an expensive micro SD card. I got a 64 gig SanDisk Ultra Plus. It's like $21 on Amazon. I'll link it below. I did get something like this because this will record a lot of HD video, and I wanted to be sure, since this is a 4K camera, that I could have something that supports getting a lot of videos and pictures from it. And this one will get something like a couple thousand photos and like several hundred mini movies or whatever. Depends on how many movies you want to make. The camera itself has like a recording time, I think, of like 30 minutes each. And this will support like a good couple of 30-minute videos or whatever. So that really works for me, and it has like this adapter with it, so you can put it into the camera because it's actually like takes a SD card. But yeah, I like this one. I'll link it below if you guys want something like this. There are some cheaper options, but you definitely want to get an SD card that does support HD video, 1080p, 4K, whatever, so that way you can actually make use of all the megapixels and everything that the camera does support. You don't want to get a cheaper SD card that doesn't support HD video or a lot of videos, and then you have this expensive camera, but you have an SD card that doesn't like actually save the images with in that quality. So it might be wise to like spend a couple extra dollars getting a nicer SD card. Like this one's like $22 or whatever on Amazon, and that way you'll be able to actually view and save nice pictures and videos. So I mean, an extra $20 on top of like a $700 camera, it does sound like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, in the long run, you're definitely going to want it, as opposed to buying like a $5 or $6 SD card and then your images, you know, look like crap. Either way, you guys, thank you for watching. I hope you liked my review. I do love this camera, and I do highly recommend getting it if you do want a hybrid vlogging travel camera. Obviously, you probably came to this video because you're probably more travel oriented and want a camera for travel. So I definitely do recommend this for travel. The thing is, with this type of camera, you are probably going to have to get a different lens than the one that it originally comes with, just so that way you're able to zoom out further than you are with this one, because this one does not zoom out that far. It is more wide angle, so it's not going to zoom in close to things if you're wanting to take something like the top of a peak of a mountain or something like that. Like if you wanted to get something that's like not super big or super wide, that is really kind of far away from you, then you're going to need another lens for that. I will link the lenses down below. They range anywhere from like $150 to $300-400, so be very cautious in terms of when you're picking the lens that you want and what exactly you're going to be using it for. Make sure you do the research on the lens, so that way you don't waste money on getting a lens that is no good for what you're going to be doing with it. So if you're going to pay for half the price of this camera in terms of getting another lens, be sure that you do your research on what the various lenses are, how far they zoom in, and really think about what you want to use the lenses for. But I like the lens that it came with. I'll definitely be getting another one later on down the line, a different lens to swap out with. But I do like the lens that it came with. It did work for me in terms of where I went and what I was taking pictures of. So if you guys like this video, then be sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. If you want to see more review videos like this one, click the box here. If you want to see other unboxing videos of me unboxing like this camera and other cameras and drones and things that are great to travel with, then click the box up here, and be sure to click the box here to subscribe or down below. And I try to make a review video like at least once or twice a week about various things to travel with. So this is definitely something that I will be traveling with, that I have traveled with, and I think that you all should travel with too. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys around the world. Bye.